got me. My engineer is a basketball player, and you got me. I used to be a boxer, and I used to play basketball too, a little bit of basketball. So the most important thing about sports is learning the basic fundamentals.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what you do also.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So we are live and ready to go. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rick Young. This is another segment of What's in Your Hand here at WHCR and GHCR. And we're here with another What's in Your Hand program. And I'm excited. My guest today, I'm very excited. She's going to share some very wonderful principles. But let me just tell you, What's in Your Hand is a motivational show. We talk about success, achievement, reaching your goals, reaching your dreams, and also having fun and maximizing your life. That's what What's in Your Hand is about. What's in your hand? What can you do? So my guest today is a representative from the financial gym. And like the financial gym, like you go to the gym and you get a personal trainer. This is like what they call a financial trainer. And being I have worked in gyms, I know about personal training. I did some boxing personal training. And my guest today is Ornella. Ornella, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. Always excited to share my personal finance and talk about money.
Okay. So the first two questions is, how did you get involved with the financial gym?
Mm-hmm. Okay,
yeah,
so,
that's
okay, so
yeah.
So I got involved with the financial gym. I started there at about December, but I've always had a passion for financial education, financial literacy. I come from a wealth management company, a large wealth management company. And there I was working with the rich of the rich. And I realized that a lot of the financial principles that they were learning, instilling in their kids, and then just allowing them to build generational wealth. The same thing can be applied to people who look like me, right? Young people, young professionals, especially Black people who are not having conversations about money, who are not being exposed to the tools and the resources that other populations of people have. That's what ultimately led me to seek out the financial gym and seek out a company who was focusing and catering towards people who just the normal average American that's trying to figure out their money.
Mm-hmm. Did you grow up in New York City?
So I live in Newark. So I grew up in Newark. I was born in Togo, which is a small country in West Africa. And I moved here when I was 3, but I've been living in Newark my whole life.
Oh, okay. So how did you get involved with the financial gym?
Yeah, so in December, I was long before I even came over to the gym, like I was looking for companies that aligned more with my passion. I wanted to work with people who look like myself, and I wanted to provide more widespread financial literacy as opposed to just a niche population of people who have plenty of assets and have a lot of money already. So just looking, and funny enough, I always tell our CEO this, I found the gym because I was looking for competitors, because I was going to start my own kind of like financial planning and consulting company anyway. So I'm like, well, someone's already doing it. I might as well just go work for them.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's exciting. And I want to thank Emily Egan for setting up this interview.
Yes.
I appreciate that. And tell me a little bit about, what's that?
No, I love Emily. She's been helping me with a lot of PR as well.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about the founder, Shannon Lay. And before you get started, let me just say, I can see from her name that she's an Irish descendant. Let her know that you interviewed this former boxer from Harlem, that's been to Ireland 3 times. Not 1, not 2, but 3 times I've been to Ireland. Kid from Harlem. So cool.
I will let her
that.
Know. And I'm going to send her this interview.
Okay.
But so the question was, tell about Shannon. I really, really like
Yeah.
Shannon because like she reminds me of myself, just like having to figure it out and navigate a company. Like I really look up to her and I admire what she's doing because there's not a lot of other personal finance companies. Like name them. I can't even name them. Like there's a lot of smaller players doing this kind of work, but there's no company that's designated towards helping people master their finances the way that the financial gym is. So I give Shannon so much kudos for being able to build something and do all of the work that goes into it, right? Because like raising funding and managing employees and all, like I was an entrepreneur myself, and I'm still an entrepreneur, and I've dealt with like hiring and firing and like the whole employee management and the things that go into running a business. She is doing an amazing job, and I'm like super proud of her and super proud of like where the company has gone. I've only been here for the short amount of months since December, but I definitely see the passion and the care that she puts into the work that she does and with all of her clients.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Um, wow, that is definitely cool. And the whole. Did you ever find out how she came with the concept? It's, like
Yeah. So
there's workout, gym trainer, personal trainer.
yeah. So funny enough,
Yeah.
she was also
Go ahead.
working in wealth management as well. So she was at Merrill Lynch, and very similar kind of sentiment to me, right? Like dealing with the rich of the rich, that is cool, but it gets boring after a certain point in time. And you learn that you make a lot more of a difference to people when they don't have a lot of money and they're like on their last straw and they're just trying to figure it out. I think that's really where that passion and that thing just sparked for her. And she realized like the workout concept makes a lot of sense to people, right? Like if I say I'm a personal trainer, people understand that immediately. They understand that I go to the gym, I work out with you, I give you a regimen, and it's like a routine. So she just kind of married that for the gym, right? And that's the same thing I do as a personal trainer. So when I meet my clients, I do the intake, I take all of their information, I know how much money they make, what their expenses are, if they're in debt, if there's anything, like I understand their full financial picture. And then I use that to create a financial plan for them. And that financial plan is essentially the roadmap that allows them to master their money, right? So I tell them you should be saving this amount per month. This is how much you should be contributing to your retirement plan. This is, if your goal is to pay down debt, this is how much you should dedicate towards paying down debt each month. So it's a full regimen and a full kind of workout plan that you would marry to a regular gym, but it's just about money and numbers.
Okay. Well, in the gym, you have strength training, you have cardio, you have stretching.
Yeah.
Do you have different categories like that for the financial gym?
Yeah, I think it's all the
What
same.
would be what would be considered the strength training?
The strength training. Okay, so we break our clients into three groups, right? We have the muscle builder clients who are like the people who got it all. They're the overachievers. They're the ones that like, they know about investing. They already have the savings, but we just need to fine tune them so that they can really, really start to build wealth and compound on it. Then we have the total body workout clients. So they're the people at a regular gym where they understand working out, they understand what going to the gym looks like and how they should do that, but they need a full kind of like exercise plan, or they need something that's going to give them more guidance as to where they're going. Then we have our gut buster clients, and like I don't want to body shame anyone, right? But the point of a gut buster client is like they might be coming in with a little bit more debt, or they might be coming in with some different kind of financial struggles where it's really our job to help them navigate out of those struggles. So the plan is a little bit more intensive. It's focused on income as well as like cutting debt and slashing it significantly. Strength training, when I think of our muscle builder clients, we want to get you to the point of being comfortable investing. So, like I give you the exercise, pick a couple of investments, pick a couple of ETFs or even stocks or whatever, and let's discuss it. I can't tell you which investments to, buy, right? I can't legally. I can't tell you to buy Apple or buy Tesla or whatever the case is, right? But we can have conversation around it, and we can get your mind going, and get your mind to understand the concepts around the different kind of like investing platforms and what you should be doing with your money.
Mhm. And wow, you know what? Let me just tell you, this is a brilliant concept.
I think so.
I got another message for Shannon. So you got one message for her, right? Tell her that this idea is brilliant.
Yes.
It's a brilliant idea. By taking the concept of financial gym, financial fitness to financial finances. Yeah. Brilliant idea. Wow. Could you give me a success story?
Yeah. So I think all of my clients are success stories in their own right, but I actually just posted one of my clients on my Instagram. So she started with me. Her name is Mina. She started with me in January, and she had the same anxieties that a lot of people have around their money, right? Like credit card debt and not having any savings, like student loans debt, like hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt. And there was an anxiety that she felt around her money because she just didn't know what to do or where to go around it. But now, fast forward, we're in August, she has over $10,000 in her savings account. And excuse me, that's just her emergency savings account. So like we break down the different kinds of savings accounts. She has over $10,000 in her emergency savings. Excuse me. Then she has like another 2,000 or so in her travel fund, because traveling is something that's really, really important to her. So I made her a bucket for that. I made her a travel savings account, and she has over 2,000 there. So like once COVID ends, she can start going back to living her best life and like going out, traveling and so on. But then she's also paid down a significant amount of her debt. So like over $5,000-$6,000 in her credit card debt has been gone. And we're very, very much so chugging towards getting rid of all of her debt by the end of the year. So that's a success story for me. And I just checked in with her a couple of days ago. She got a raise. So she negotiated a raise, and I helped her get to that point of like being able to advocate for herself and, you know, just demand more money. So all the good things that can happen, she's saving more, has less debt, and she's making more money. I think that is the culmination of what success looks like at the gym.
Have you ever thought about doing a financial gym junior?
Like how?
Well, that would be for get the young ones like at a young age and start educating them. Like their parents could bring them to learn and get, you know, trained in financial education at a young age. So when they get older, they won't struggle like adults today financially.
Yeah, so we actually do some programming for younger students as well. And it's more so on a volunteer basis at the moment. We're looking to expand into that. But like for me and a couple of my colleagues, we just volunteered with the Fresh Air Fund and the Chicago Department of Housing. And we did a presentation that's kind of like a finance 101 for students. So we went through what it looks like to get paid, right? Like how much should you be saving once you get paid? What are the different types of getting paid? Because I see that a lot of students, they're starting off making like hourly money, maybe like $10 to $15 here and there, but they're not saving it. And I want them to save it. So we went through like what savings look like, the different kinds of accounts you should have, as well as just like what you should be doing with your money from the young age, how credit cards work, because I think that's super important as well. Like if you avoid bad credit mistakes early on, that's such a great foundation for you when you get older and you're in college and so on. So we're doing more of like individual programming, but we haven't done a full like student membership yet.
So what would someone would have to have done to people, like they didn't notice it was coming, this coronavirus thing was coming, but how would they have needed to prepare so that when this thing came, this virus came, this pandemic came, they were prepared and ready?
Yeah. So
ready, loaded, shot, ready to go.
So one thing I always encourage my clients to have is between 3 to 6 months worth of their expenses as their emergency fund, because COVID happened, and the biggest shock to a lot of people was that they had no cash reserves. They had no savings for when, you know, their job let them go. They had a layoff or whatever the case is. People were like, you know, so many people, a lot of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and they're always relying on that next paycheck to live their lives and be able to, you know, ultimately do the things that they need to do. But in this case, COVID happened and then the next paycheck stopped. So having some form of emergency cushion, and even if it's not the full 6 months, because I do understand sometimes it's hard to save immediately to that full 6 months, but like even if you have 1 month, so you're able to like comfortably pay your bill, you can pay your rent, you can have food to eat, you can support your family for a month while you look for other roles and you reconfigure. I think that's super duper important to have, and have people been prepared for.
Well, they were saying that the people that had got that $600, they were saying that was more money than they were making while they were working. So, hey, I'm getting $600. I'm making more than I was working. I don't want to work here anymore. Do you believe that? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's the fundamental problem with America. And I'll try not to get too political, but the fact that people would make more on unemployment than they would working their jobs, I think is a challenge. And I think there's something wrong with that. But I also understand it as an entrepreneur. Like some businesses can't even afford to pay people more than the minimum wage or more than $10 an hour. So there's a bit of a back and forth in me on that regard. But, you know, for some people making that extra 600, I think what a lot of people should have done was saved a portion of it. I don't know if that's what everyone did, because sometimes people don't instantly save. Like saving isn't the first thing that people decide to do when they get money. And that's what I try and change the narrative for my clients on. It's when you make money, the first thing you should do is pay yourself, right? Take out at least 5 to 10% of it, pay yourself, put it as a saving, and then spend whatever is left. But that's not naturally what people do. They spend first and then save whatever's left, which it gets a little hard when, you know, COVID and things happen where you might lose your job.
Have you ever heard of the 52-week money challenge?
Is that, I see, do you follow the Finance Bar? Because they also do a money challenge. Is that the one you're talking about?
Finance Bar?
Yeah.
I never heard of the Finance Bar.
Okay. The Finance Bar, it's so cute. It's a Black woman. Her name is Marsha. And it's like she took a school bus and completely pimped it out. Like it's such a beautiful like bus, so cute. And I'm not sure where she's located. If I'm not mistaken, probably in like the DC area. But it's like a little yellow bus, but you know, you can go in, you can have financial consulting sessions, and it's just a really cute space. But she also does a 52-week money challenge on Instagram as well.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I like that because it starts, you start with $1.
Yeah.
You show me one person on this that can't find $1. Even you could be a child, you could be homeless, and you could come up with $1.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next week you got to come up with 2.
Okay.
And then the week after that you got to come up with 3. But don't worry about the 2 and the 3. Just start with the 1, and you can get started. And the whole to me is like starting.
Yeah.
Like Shannon did. She had an idea, and she started. What if she would just kept it in her head?
Yeah.
You know how many people got ideas, great ideas in their head, and that's where they stay in their head. And here Shannon brought her dream, her goal to life, and she helped empower people.
Yeah.
That's what What's in Your Hand is all about. Shannon had in her talent and the skill, and she brought it. And now she got people like yourself. I mean, it's just amazing. I love it. That's what it's all about.
I love it.
That's what it's all about. You think we ever might get to a cashless society?
You know, I always wonder, like, I rarely use cash. I really try not to use cash.
Wow.
The I deal with cash.
Wow.
Because it's like, one, especially in the ages of COVID-19, like cash is dirty. So like, because you never know what's happening. Like, I think these days, especially with like everyone taking cards and like, you know, there's so many simple things. Like you don't even need a card anymore. Like you can just pay with your phone. So I think society is just moving towards this place where you don't have to use cash. And You never know, because like you have to be super precautious about like where cash is coming from and how people are exchanging with it and so on. So yeah, I'm not opposed to cashless at all.
I heard that China is they're not working with cash in China. I heard it's like boop with the phone, boop boop.
Yeah, everything is phone now.
Amazon has a couple of stores here in New York, huh?
No, everything
What's
is the
that?
phone now. I'm listening though.
Yeah, Amazon has a couple of stores here in New York. It's called Amazon Go, and it's a you go in, boop, or I mean you use your card or whatever, boop, and then you go in, and then whatever you take off the shelf, it charges you. There's no maybe like a couple of people to assist you, but it's really like yeah. And if you put it back, then it takes the charge off.
Oh, really?
It's called Amazon Go.
I've heard of those stores,
Yeah.
but like
So,
I've actually never even been to any. That's super cool. That's cool.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you guys are located in Manhattan, Brooklyn, DC, LA, and is that it?
Yeah, for now. Shannon's always
Yeah.
on the mission to build more gyms.
Yeah, she got to build one in Harlem, man. We need one. We need a financial bar in Harlem.
It's not far though. It's like one train away.
That's true. That is true. But you know, Harlem is like Harlem. You know, Harlem. Have you ever been to Harlem?
I have been to Harlem. I was actually there like maybe a couple weeks ago. I took my mom to go pick up some furniture. So like I was in Harlem for a couple of minutes.
Wow. So you know what? I think so. In the gym, you take personal training, but you also have classes. Tell me about the financial gym classes.
Yeah. So the classes that we have, and they're more like, we call them wine and learns. And so sad.
They call them what?
Wine and learns. So that's a big part of our culture. Like we will have a glass of wine with our clients to allow them to kind of relax and take the stress off. I've met with so many clients, and the first thing I offer them is like, do you want some wine or do you want some form of drink? Because we have a money bar. So when you come into the gym, you can go into the bar. It's a fully stocked bar, so you can have a martini if you'd like, or whatever you want to have with your money. But the wine and learns, they typically happen on Wednesdays, and we cover a host of different topics. So like I've done a wine and learn. I did one maybe like a month and some change ago about the Black wealth gap. And we addressed just what caused the Black wealth gap and caused the differential in regards of like pay and home ownership and those kinds of things. Then we also have like other educational ones, real estate purchasing or like investing 101. We even had some on like mindfulness and so many different things during this like COVID time. They're all virtual now, but they do come on Wednesdays. And anyone can sign up and RSVP via our website.
Okay, what if someone comes into the financial gym, like a fitness gym, and like way out of shape, almost like a gut buster, financially clueless. You have a lot of people like that that's kind of winging it, financially clueless.
Yeah. And that's what we're designed to really help people navigate, right? Like the trainers themselves, and I speak for myself in this, like if people come completely clueless, my job is to help them leave the gym feeling like they're empowered and they know what they're doing. Like I like to think that my clients will stay with me forever, and I hope that they do. So if any of my clients are watching this, I expect you to stay with me forever. But if they decide not to, I hope that they feel confident enough that once they leave the gym, they have the necessary financial skills to continue to make good financial decisions and build a strong financial foundation for themselves, right? Like very simple things like budgeting. I try not to complicate finances because I think that's what the financial sector in general does, coming from a wealth management background. It doesn't have to be that hard. And for most people, it won't ever get to the point where it's that complicated because they just need to know how much money can I spend? How much money do I need to save? And how much do I need to, like, that saving, what do I need in order to accomplish my goals? And the goals could be anything, right? It could be buy a house, or I want to travel, or I want to build generational wealth for myself, my family, and my children, right? Like, whatever that bigger picture thing you want to do is, my job is to find a number for it, assign a dollar amount for it, and then help you save for it. So you could have completely no financial experience, but still achieve your goals. And my job is to help you do that.
Mm-hmm. Like, some people might want to save for a wedding.
Yeah. I have plenty of clients saving for weddings right now. Weddings are expensive, but we make it happen.
Now, what about this? Did we talk about paying off debt? What about paying off debt?
Yeah. So paying off debt, I think that's one of the things, like, in America, like, a lot of people deal with debt. And I myself am in debt, right? Like, I opened a restaurant in January and ultimately had to close due to COVID. So I have a boatload of debt to show for that, but I'm being strategic about paying it down. And that's the same thing I tell my clients to do. Like, let's write it down, right? Because it's most important. Some people don't want to even see it, but I think there's so much power in seeing it. So, like, I have them write it down and I get the total number, right? Like, it could be 10,000, 20,000, whatever. I need to know the total number, and I need to know how much the minimum payments are each month, right? If you're paying $50 as a minimum, or $100, or whatever the case is, I need to know how much that is. And then I see what is in your budget to dedicate towards paying additional toward the debt. So I always stress that we should be saving and paying off debt at the same time, because if you decide to dedicate all your money, all of the additional cash you have, towards paying down debt, if an emergency or something happens, you don't have any cash reserved for it. So you're going to use your credit card to pay for it again, right? So I always tell my clients, you should have your emergency fund, you should have your savings, and pay down debt at the same time. And I devise a formula to help them do that.
That's I tell you, that's pretty cool, man. I mean, like, this is like a dumb question.
No such thing.
It's an important question. I know. Why do you think it's important for people to learn how to handle their money?
That's actually, it's not a dumb question. It's very loaded. That's a very, very loaded question. But money is, unfortunately, the world revolves around it, right? Like, you can be an amazing person, a great person, all you want, and that will get you very far in life. But there are certain things that you have to do that just naturally require money. Like, I read an article, a blog post the other day, and it said, the title was "The Woman You Want to Be Is Rich." And for a while, I battled with.
Say it again.
Is that the woman that you want to be is rich? And for a while, I battled with just, do I want to make a lot of money? Do I want to be like a rich person? Because, there's this connotation of, like, rich people as, like, they're bad, or like they're taking away from people, or they're, like, doing whatever, right? But not even in the context of, like, exploiting people to be rich, but everything you want to do costs money. If you want to live comfortably, it costs money. If you want to travel and see the world, like, you can do it on a budget, but you still have to have some form of money to do it, right? So I always tell people, whatever feelings you do have about finances, it's important to have your money life together, because you need some form of money to do the things you want to do. So it's easier when you don't have anxiety around it, because you've already, owned up to it and had the conversation with yourself, and you have a plan, as opposed to just, like, flailing in the wind, trying to figure it out. And, like, when an emergency happens, you have to, like, scramble to figure it out. Like, that's stress. And that's anxiety that I don't wish on anyone, because I've had financial anxiety. I know what that feels like. And I don't want that to continue to be a thing for people.
I think you should never put yourself in the situation. This is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, people can take it how they want to take it. But I don't think you should put yourself in the position where you have to go to a friend and say, hey, can I borrow some money for whatever? I think you need to prepare yourself so you don't have to do that. Or whatever you think you need, maybe you need to wait and save up for it, as opposed to I got to have it right now.
Yeah.
Because we're in the right now era. I want it now. And I just don't believe in like borrowing money from someone that I call a friend. I don't think you have to work it out. Find a way.
Yeah.
There's a way to find a way. How do you feel about that? Borrowing money from friends, family. I mean, imagine this: co-workers. Like what? Oh,
I mean,
oh, that's
there's
not
a time and place
ugly,
for
huh?
everything, right? Like I think there's a time and place for everything because, like,
Okay.
when you hear the most successful businesses of the world, right? Like the Ubers and the Lyfts and the Teslas and so on. The first people that invested in the business were their friends and family. So in that realm of borrowing from your friends and family, I say go for it. And like
That's not borrowing. That's supporting.
that's a well, yeah, but it's a loan in some way, shape, or form. Like in the case of borrowing from your friends and family for an emergency, that I completely understand. Like you don't want to make that the habit for yourself, right? Like if there's a a big pickle that you're in and you absolutely can't get out of, then I'm like, okay, you can borrow from your friends and family. But I like to be self-sufficient and I don't like to ask either. So I think we might be on the same page there. Like I would figure it out before I go ask and beg someone for it.
Okay. So, financial education, financial literacy. How does networking come into play with that?
Yeah. Okay. So networking, I tell all my like mentees and people who I mentor along the way, you need to network your way into everything. Like I'm in the rooms that I'm in because I knew someone who put me into the room that I'm in, right? Like I even did a podcast today for John Hancock, and it was because I have a friend who knew the podcast person and put me in contact with that. So it's so important. Who you know is way more important sometimes than what you know. Because you see a lot of people sometimes who actually aren't that smart and they don't have half the skills that you have, but they're in rooms that you couldn't even dream of getting into just because they knew someone that put them there. So making sure that you know the right people and you know how to maneuver a room, that's going to be the difference between you staying at an entry level position forever versus you moving up to the C suite because people know and like you. And how that fits into financial literacy, the more people you know, your circle is your wealth, right? Like your network is your net worth. So the people that you know and how they're doing and how they're performing in life and how successful they are, that's a direct reflection on you. So if everyone that you know is doing worse than you, you're not networking the right way because you need to be in a room with people who are doing better than you so that you could actively grow and do better.
Yeah. You know, this market, this financial literacy, financial education market is huge, huge, because I think, this is my personal opinion, that so many people are clueless when it comes to money, financial financial education, knowing how to properly manage their money, effectively manage their money, not barely making it, but making it in a way that they're growing and building, and not just making it struggling all your life, but growing. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Um, that's why the financial gym is like so well placed because there's this white space of people who are not financial, like it's a gap, right? It's the people who are like the not I don't want to say poor, but like the lower class. And then there are the people who are the upper class who already have financial advisors for the most part because they're managing so much wealth that at that point you kind of need a financial advisor. We're in the space where most percent of Americans fall, where we need to navigate financial literacy. And I think there's so much opportunity, especially for people who are um, in that personal finance space. Like I'm in that personal finance space and I'm trying to grow a brand around myself as well. If anyone wants to follow me on Instagram, it's Ornella Yovo. But, there's so much opportunity for people who want to do the work and who want to spread financial education. I will give the disclaimer though, not all advice is good advice. I've seen some very, very bad financial advice being given out there, and it puts people further from their goals than they need to be. So all the advice that you get, I say, one, if it's on general Instagram, take with a grain of salt, but then also consult a professional, because advice, if it's on Instagram, is very general. And your specific situation might be completely different from the general population that they were targeting. So you just want to make sure that you get a second opinion and a second set of eyes before you go do something drastic that could really put you in like a far worse financial position than when you started.
Have you ever seen a financial situation that is hopeless?
No, there's no such thing as a hopeless financial situation. There are some that are tough. Can't lie to you. I've seen some very, very tough financial situations, but there's no such thing as hopeless, because what I see that a lot of people's challenges are is just you have more expenses than you make. Like that's 90% of people who are in like bad financial situations position is like your expenses are higher than you make. In some cases, it's a personal choice, right? Where we're living outside of our means. And then in some cases, it is, just misfortune, right? Whether you've had like a family member get sick, or you can't find the kind of work that you want, or whatever the case is, right? There are so many different situations that cause people to have financial strain. But I think it's also attitude that will help navigate a lot of people out of it. Because if I see someone where their situation is they have a lot of debt and they don't make enough, but their expenses are high, I always try and coach them like, okay, how do we make more money? And I can always tell people like, okay, this is what we need to do to make more money. We need to side hustle. We need to apply for a bigger, for like a raise. We need to get a different job. We need to do all these things, right? I can always help counsel to that level. But then sometimes it's, do we cut expenses? Do we do something differently? Like for me, I thought there was a point in time this year when like my restaurant was failing, and like COVID happened and like I had to close down. I was losing money. I was like burning through thousands of dollars a month. And I felt so hopeless. Like there would be days I would cry and I'm like, bro, what am I doing wrong? But then I just had to, have the conversation with myself and have the conversation with my support network and be like, what can I do to get myself to where I needed to be? And it's just having someone kind of like chime in and give me advice and strategize with me that really allowed me to be, the light that I am today.
I'm laughing because, so in other words, just saying that you can talk to yourself and not be crazy. Because some people you see talk to themselves, they're crazy.
No,
but you can literally, so it's all right to talk to yourself.
I talk to myself all the time. Who's going to give you better advice than yourself?
Woo, wow. But
you got to be yourself. Honest. You know yourself better than anyone else knows you. And sometimes you also need to be real with yourself. Sometimes people don't want to be real with themselves. Like for me, I was in denial, right? I was telling myself, oh no, I could keep this restaurant thing going, but I was burning through cash. Then I had to be honest with myself, like, girl, no, you can't. So sometimes you really do need to have that conversation with yourself and just like, okay, let all the boundaries, all the things go and man up and have, be an adult.
So there was a song called "You Can't Hide from Yourself." Anywhere you go, there you are.
No, that's facts. That's really
can't hide from yourself.
Yeah. Everything you do, you are the one that you have to see in the mirror. Like you have to see yourself in the mirror, and anything that you do, you have to answer to yourself for it. So
that was a big hit.
Who's that by? I've never heard that.
I don't remember. It was a group. You can't hide from yourself. Anywhere you go, there you are.
I need to go find myself.
Yeah, it's a listen, That's another thing. I remember when I first seen this thing called YouTube. I was like, wow, that's an interesting idea. It caught my attention. And that thing just exploded.
Yeah.
It just exploded. You mentioned something. You said side hustle.
Yes.
You know, it's possible for someone to get a side hustle, and that side hustle could literally make them rich. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. Like side hustles, I think they start from things that you do well. And even if it's not something that you naturally already do, it's just like, if you bake cakes or you've always had an interest in baking cakes and you start baking and decorating cakes, like you can make money off of that, right? Anything that you do or a skill that you have that you can monetize, that is your side hustle. And I've seen so many people side hustle their way into entrepreneurship, right? Like their side hustle is making them so much money that they're able to leave their 9 to 5 or like their main job and do the side hustle work. That is absolutely possible. I just think just be strategic about it, because that's the thing too. I see Instagram these days like completely glorifying like not working for anyone and not having a 9 to 5 and so on. And I think take that with a grain of salt, because you can have a side hustle that makes you a lot of money, or you can have a side hustle that you think is making you a lot of money that actually isn't making you anything at all. So you have to understand kind of where you fall in the grand scheme of things there.
Yeah. There was this guy named Kevin. Oh God, Kevin. Can't think of his last name right now. I should. Kevin. Anyways, he was just out of 1,000 true fans. You
Mm-hmm.
familiar with that?
Wait, 1,000 true what?
So basically, 1,000 true fans. 1,000 true fans.
What is that?
Yeah, and basically, what he was saying is that basically he was saying that if you could get 1,000 people that love you, that will support you in anything you do, and if each one of them in a year invested $100, that would be $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. Now, could I make it on $100,000 a year? I think I could. I might struggle a little bit, but no, I think I could make it on $100,000 a year. So it's called 1,000 True Fans. So 1,000 people that support you through and through.
Okay. We all need that.
Yeah.
We can.
1,000.
The hardest part is getting to the full 1,000 people, though. Like starting small, you'll work towards it and you'll build, but the hard part is getting to that full 1,000 people. But we'll get there. And I'm sure that's what you're doing as well. Like you're building your following and people are tuning in and watching this. That's so important.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I started at City College. We have a radio station there. Mm-hmm. We're on break right now because of the coronavirus. But we have a community radio station at City College, WHCR. Mm-hmm. And I started doing shows. And I was into this positive motivational success. Yeah. And it's been pretty good, right? So now we have a radio station that we built. My engineer, Doug Frazier, they built it in a housing development where I happened to grow up at.
Yeah.
Like I knew him already, but out of all the places he built it, one of them where I grew up. It was like, what could you? It's like heaven almost. Yeah. Oh. So that's what's going on. But so can you give people some ideas for some side hustles, different ideas?
Yeah, side hustles. Really, like for me, my side hustle is QuickBooks and like bookkeeping, right? That's something that I'm really, really good at. As I was my own entrepreneur, I did a lot of all of my business finances. So that was one of the things that I'm really, really good at. I'm able to package that and offer that to my clients now. And I also have a business consulting firm because I've kind of bottled up all of my experiences and now I package it to businesses and business owners who are going through similar things, need strategy, need financial guidance and all of that. So like for me, that's my natural side hustle. I'm a finance person through and through. So I was able to make that my side hustle. For some people, maybe you cook very well, right? Like cooking is a thing, and you can sell dinners and things. I've been seeing so many people on my Instagram selling dinners, so that's an option. Maybe you bake in that cooking realm as well. Like I've seen so many people who like have baking skills and cake decorating skills, so they do that. People who do marketing freelance, that's a side hustle as well. Like if you're good at social media management and all, then you can offer that skill to businesses who need it, because I know I need it. um, so many things. Even like doing Uber Eats, that's a side hustle. That's a form of a side hustle. um, TaskRabbit, I know one person that does, he sets, what is this? Like he mounts TVs. That's his side hustle. Or like if you're a handy person and you repair cars or anything like that, like you can have your 9 to 5, but you just schedule all the other work that you do around that, right? It's additional income, and it's you being a little bit of a creative release, because you get to do the thing you actually enjoy doing and the thing that you like doing on the side and make money from it.
Yeah. I am embarrassed. I am truly embarrassed right now because I
Why?
said that song "You Can't Hide from Yourself," and the artist was Teddy Pendergrass. I should know that. That's something I should know. It was Teddy Pendergrass. I don't know. Do you know anything about Teddy
Nope.
Pendergrass?
That is a little before my
Oh
time.
my, oh my God. Teddy. When Teddy sing, all you gotta do is let the record play, and everything will be all right. Teddy was a master at what he did.
I need to do my research.
So
I literally am bad at that.
yeah, Teddy Pendergrass. He was the man. He was doing it. He was doing his thing. So I have a very challenging question for you right now. This is a challenging question. And I don't know, my engineer, I don't know if he's going to get upset about this, but he talks about it. What if, are you ready for, well, first, are you ready for this question?
I'm ready for it.
What if this person comes out of prison and wants to improve their financial situation, their financial literacy, financial education? Because my engineer, Doug, did time. He was in the big house. So what about in a situation like that? I mean, can they improve their financial education, financial literacy after coming out the big house?
Yeah, prison is not a write-off.
Huh?
Prison is not a write-off at all. Like I think anyone is, able and accessible to financial education, because the whole point of coming out of prison, right, is to rehabilitate and be able to enter back into society and be a productive member of society. So regardless of whatever you did in your past, it doesn't mean you're not worthy of financial education, or not worthy of now being a sustainable person for the years to come. So anything, and that's why like there are so many programs that are now designed for rehabilitating people from prison, and I think financial education needs to be a huge part of those rehabilitation programs, because if you're teaching someone to go get a job, now that they've made the money, what do you expect them to do with it? They either have to spend it or save it, right? So if you're not teaching them proper financial steps, 9 times out of 10, they're going to spend it. And then if they spend it, they're not, you know, doing the things that they need to do in order to continue to be a good member of society. Because I feel like also why a lot of people end up in the prison system in the first place is due to a lack of financial resources. Because if you don't have money, or you don't have the proper resources to do the things that you need to do, you might resort to stealing, you might resort to selling drugs, or you might resort to things that you naturally wouldn't do had you had options and the accessibility to everything otherwise.
Oh man, Joe Biden picked his vice president already. Oh man. Oh
I'm an
man.
AKA, so
Wow.
I'm totally down for Kamala Harris being VP, because that is my soror.
So that's a t-shirt. What you said, that's a t-shirt. I think everybody that come out of prison should get that t-shirt. Prison is not a write-off.
It's not.
That is hot.
It's not.
That is hot. That's a hot t-shirt. Prison is not a write-off.
It's not.
A lot of people came out of prison and became millionaires. You know, that has happened. Don King was in prison.
Yeah.
The boxing promoter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right about that.
It's,
You're truly right about that. Now, what about being too old to correct your financial situation?
yeah.
Is that
I don't think
huh?
you're too old because, like, granted, right, different circumstances make it a little more challenging. I can't lie, right? Like, being in prison makes it harder to get a job. Being a little older, that makes it more challenging, especially if you have any form of, if you're old to the point where it's hard for you to get a job or it's hard for you to do the things and you have no savings, right? But I work with older clients. It's not to say like, oh, anyone, if you're over 50, that's it, you can't have money or whatever the case is. Like, no, it's just continuing to right all of the wrongs that you didn't do up until where you are, right? Because you could be 50 but not
Hot.
have a retirement savings, but that's okay because now you know where you went wrong for all of the years. We try and course correct and manipulate the system and manipulate money to help you get to where you need to be.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a seatbelt on?
I'll put it on.
Are you wearing a seatbelt? Because this, yeah, that's how they do it now. They do it like this now. I'm thinking like this.
Or what? Yeah.
I'm from old school. Yeah. Because this question, you're gonna need a seatbelt for this question. Okay. While we were doing this interview, I just got a call from the Democratic Convention. They want you to come and speak tonight. What is going to be your message to you? The world is going to be listening to you at the Democratic Convention. Michelle Obama is going to be there. Bernie Sanders is going to be there, and Mario Cuomo, not Mario, that's the father. Andrew Cuomo. I keep calling him Mario. That's his father's name. Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York. All of them going to be there, taking every word you say. Ornella.
Yes.
What a Democratic Convention watching your message. What are you going to say? This is it. This is it.
This is it.
That was a song too called, that was a song, This Is It. That was a big song too.
Okay. If I was at the Democratic Convention and they gave me, little me, a platform to speak, I would say, one, let's take this election season seriously because we have the person that we have in office. And this year is a monumental year because so many things have happened, right? No one knew COVID would happen, and COVID happened. And then all of the riots and everything that are happening, there's an awakening happening in America that is different than what we've seen for the past 20 years. I'm 25, so this is definitely different from all the things I've seen. So we need to take everything a lot more seriously. And when I say everything, I mean Black people need to be taken more seriously. Women need to be taken more seriously. Our money needs to be taken more seriously. Prison reform needs to be taken more seriously. Like everything needs to be taken more seriously because we are now at a pivotal point that is setting the trajectory for where the next 20 years are going to go. And if we make a bad decision this election season, or we make a bad decision for the rest of this year even, that's going to set precedent on where America is going. And if we're trying to get America and we're trying to get the youth and we're trying to really make some kind of change, then we need to take it seriously and we need to do the things that are necessary. So one, sign up for the financial gym. If someone put me on the DNC thing, I'm going to say sign up for the financial gym because that's important. But then also just go out, vote, do what you're supposed to do, and then be the change that you wish to see. Because I can tell you all day to be a good person and do the things that you need to do, but like you want to see change, you need to be that change. my whole life and my platform is based on me trying to help people manage their money. It's because I want people to have more money and I want people to make better decisions about it. I can't just say, oh, I want people to be financially literate, but not do the work. So I need people to do the work and do the things that they want to see in the world. That would be
Yeah, like you
that.
can't go to the gym. You can't go to the gym, work out, come home, eat a big piece of cake and a big old soda, and think you're
Yeah,
gonna,
you've defeated the purpose.
get in shape.
I
Yeah.
hope that message would resonate.
Wow. Well, you
Do you
know
think
what?
that's something that would resonate?
I'm gonna. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But this, I'm gonna tell you why it resonates, because this interview, I'm gonna send. There's people in my life. I've had some special people in my life. I got daughters and sisters and cousins, people that I love truly, and friends that I love truly. All the people that I love is gonna get this interview. I'm gonna send it to them.
Thank you.
Yeah, all my loved ones. That's right. So thank you.
No, I'm
So just
excited.
give me, yeah. Before we end, tell me, what, the financial, like how to keep up with the financial gym, all the ways to reach out to the financial gym and get information.
Yeah. So the easiest way to find the financial gym is to go on our website at www.financialgym.com. We have an Instagram, Twitter, everything. So you can find us there, all our social media. And I think when you follow the Instagram, we're super active on the Instagram, constantly posting content. You'll see me, I do a couple of the live sessions. So we go live every Monday. So I go live, I answer any questions. So very similar to this. Like if our clients or audience has any questions, I'll answer them. And set up some time. If you're watching this and you want to take the first step, when you go on our website, click get started, because that shows that you're committed to your financial success. And you will take the first step, which you'll get paired with, you'll have what we call a warm up call. So very similar to when you do a warm up in an exercise, it's like that first 10 minutes or so where you're just like, getting into it. The warm up call, they get you ready and prepared for a financial trainer. So take that step, make that investment in yourself. And that's another big thing I would say if I was to be given the opportunity to speak at DNC. Invest in yourself. That is so, so, so important. Like sometimes we don't want to spend the money, right? Like getting a personal trainer at the gym is an investment. Getting a personal financial person is an investment. Investing in going to a webinar series where an important person that you admire is going to speak and they're going to teach you about something that they're an expert in. Like that's an investment in you. Or buying a book, taking a course, going to school. Like those are all investments in you. And no other form of investment is going to pay off like the one that you invest in yourself. So spend the money. The financial gym, I think we're very, very well priced, but just spend it, invest in yourself, and you'll see it'll pay dividends in your life.
Okay, this is truly the final question. If someone is a senior,
Mm-hmm.
they're up in age, and they have a lot of credit card debt, say like about 18,000, 20,000 in credit card debt, and they're thinking about doing bankruptcy, should they do it?
So that's not a yes or no question because it depends on a lot of different factors, right? Bankruptcy, there are so many things that go into it, like your income, the amount of assets that you have, if you want to have your assets affected by bankruptcy and so on. And like, what are you trying to do within the next couple of years? Do you want to buy a house immediately? Or like, what are your goals? I don't want to give like a yes or no answer because for one person, bankruptcy might make sense. For another person, it might not make sense. And in my case, I can say that because I've considered bankruptcy with all of the debt that I had from the restaurant. And I ultimately made the decision to not pursue the bankruptcy option, but it was a very viable option and I did like go through the processes. So, again, consulting a professional that will understand your full financial picture and understand where you are to then give you advice that makes sense would be very helpful.
Yes. Okay. Tell Emily thank you. Give Emily a thank you from me. Tell her I really appreciate setting up this interview with you. And Shannon, I want to thank her for for taking a step with her idea, using what's in her hand. I really appreciate what she did. And I think it's wonderful. And thank you for being here today and sharing your gift with my audience. I really appreciate that.
I appreciate it. And if anyone wants to follow me, again, my Instagram is Ornella Yovo. So just my first name and my last name.
How do you spell Yovo?
Yeah, YOV as in Victor.
Well, spell out your name.
Ornella. So ORNE, Ornella. ORNELLA.
Right.
And last name is Yovo, YOV as in Victor. Oh.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And hopefully I'll be seeing you soon. I'll be seeing you when are you guys open yet?
We are open. The gyms are open for co-working as well as meetings if clients would like to come.
Okay. All right. See you soon. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
All right. I'm excited. I'm glad. Oh, did it pause?
Okay.